Hi there, I'm Pastor Sai. I'm the Dean of Advanced Biblical Studies here at Christian Family Church Bible College International. I would just like to share with you about our amazing program of Advanced Biblical Studies. So, what are Advanced Biblical Studies? Well, for those of you that may not be aware, it is our equivalent of a postgraduate program to our first, second, and third years of Bible College. In years 4, 5, and 6, which is our Advanced Biblical Studies program, we will look at advanced theological studies. We go into so many various aspects of the Bible in great depth, and we discover the nuggets and the pearls that are within. So as I've mentioned, we have 3 years, 4th year, 5th year, and 6th year. Our 4th year we refer to as our Silver Laureate program. Our 5th year is our Gold Laureate program, and our 6th year is our Gold Laureate with Honors program. Each year has its own exit outcomes, and as such, there will be a graduation for each year. So, what is so different about Advanced Biblical Studies? Well, firstly, I would like you to put from your mind the process and the manner in which first, second, and third year were lectured and tested and the exit outcomes were attained. At Advanced Biblical Studies, we do things completely differently. Firstly, one of the major differences is the content of our curriculum. And within that curriculum, there are 2 basic types of modules. We have prescribed modules and elective modules. And I'll get into those a little later. Another aspect that is very different is the lecturers and the manner in which the lecturers lecture. The lecturing techniques are very, very different. We encourage class interaction. We have internal debates. We have discussions where we delve into various aspects of the module concerned. And we discuss them together and we learn within the classroom environment. A next area that is very different, that sets us apart, is our roster. In other words, the time frames and when we do our lecturing, and when you as prospective students will hopefully be able to garner some information from not only the lecturer, but the discussions within the class. And then there is the manner of study. Unlike getting a manual and just reading from a manual and bringing up the contents of the manual in an exam, our manner of study includes so many different areas of research. And then there are the assignments with which we're able to determine the exit outcomes. And I'm going to discuss each of these aspects in a little bit of detail for all of them. So let's look at the content of the curriculum for 4th year, or our Silver Laureate program. The modules that we have in the prescribed category are Biblical Archaeology, Origins of the Bible, Judeo-Christian Studies, Old Testament Theology, New Testament Theology, and Introduction to Biblical Hebrew. So let's just take a bit of time and look at each and every one of them individually. Firstly, these are our prescribed modules. In other words, every student has to do these modules. There is no choosing or electing. These are prescribed. And they are assigned a certain number of credits, which we will discuss later. So, Biblical Archaeology. Well, we are very privileged to have an arrangement and an agreement with UNISA and their Biblical Archaeology department. And although that has been closing down, we still have an arrangement with their lecturers. And the Biblical Archaeology module is based on the information and the contents that are discussed within the classes of UNISA. And this is not just something that we've taken on. We have lecturers that know this stuff, that are archaeologists, that share this information with us. And it's focused specifically on biblical archaeology. We then have Origins of the Bible. Now this looks at how do we get the Bible that we have today. your hard copy Bible, or even your electronic copy, but how do we get that today? Has it changed over the years? Where did it start? What information is available to show that what we have today is what was actually compiled and put together in the 1500 years that it was put together? Is what we have today actually what was written? And we look at all the evidence that can either support that or not support it to show that the Bible has various origins and has come to a culmination at a point where we can say what we have is the Word of God. We then have a module entitled Judeo-Christian Studies, and this is Judeo-Christian Studies 1, and this is a module that looks at the symbiotic relationship between Judaism and Christianity, and a very powerful module which dispenses with any preconceived notions that may be out there, but brings the truth together. It shows the relationship between Judaism and Christianity. We then have Old Testament Theology 1. Well, this is where we start looking into the scriptures in the Old Testament specifically. And I think the highlight of this module is where the student is trained to do a thorough exegesis of some verses in the Bible. And I can guarantee you that once you've done this exegesis, what you've discovered from those verses will remain for you, or remain with you rather, for the rest of your lives, because it would have been illuminated. And you'll be encouraged to do other exercises whereby you'll do an exegesis on verses that you will select yourself. In New Testament Theology 1, well, this is exciting. We're looking at the books of the Bible that start the New Testament. In other words, the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And there's an in-depth look at these, but not just the theological content of those books, but looking at the characters that wrote the books and what influences these characters had that caused them to record things the way they did. And then we have Introduction to Biblical Hebrew. Now that may sound scary to start with, but it's really not that bad. It's actually quite an interesting module. We have an amazing lecturer who I'll mention a little later, who is really, really adept in putting across various languages in a manner that's exciting. And we also have Introduction to Biblical Greek, something that is, wow, opens up the New Testament in a manner which you would never have thought possible. And I know you're thinking Hebrew, Greek, these are really tough languages. No, I guarantee you the way they put across, initially they may seem a bit foreign, excuse the pun, but they are truly eye-opening in how they will reveal things in the Bible. Let's move on to our elective modules. Now, these modules we offer you 3, in this case, in 4th year modules, and you are entitled to choose one of the 3 to add to the 7 prescribed modules that you will be doing. And the choice that you have in 4th year is God's Generals, which looks at those men of God that have come through time, that have stood strong and have fought for the faith in Jesus Christ, and have by their actions and their words raised themselves up above all others in being steadfast in proclaiming the truth of the Word. We then have dispensations and covenants, which I think is self-explanatory. It looks at the various dispensations and covenants that are outlined within the Bible. And then we have history of the church. This is a module which looks at how the church started. So we go right back to the time of the apostles and come forward to the modern day church. That's 4th year. And that is just our opening year. That is what sort of peels away the wrapping to reveal the treasure within. Okay, now let's have a look at 5th year. That is our Gold Laureate program. Now, where with 4th year we've peeled away the wrapping to reveal something that could be a treasure inside. Now we're opening up the box to reveal what is within. And we have some additional modules to what we've already done in 4th year. And Yes, there are modules that carry on into a second portion of that particular module, but let's look what is offered in the prescribed portion of the modules for 5th year. We have Judeo-Christian Studies 2, and that is a continuation of what was learned in 4th year, a delving into, in depth, the inner workings of the Judeo and Christian relationship. We have Old Testament Theology 2, where we're going even further into the Old Testament and more books are revealed and opened up. Then there's New Testament Theology 2. Well, in 4th year we looked at the Gospels, and now we're going to look at the rest of the books of the Bible. Not all of them in 5th year, because we carry on into 6th year. Then we have Biblical Greek 1. And Biblical Greek 1 is now obviously moving on from the introduction that was in 4th year. And things are getting very interesting when we start delving into how we can look at what is actually meant, what the writer actually meant when using certain Greek words in the Bible. And then we have the starting of some additional, some new modules in 5th year. Firstly, we have research methodology. And this is where we look at putting together the framework for a dissertation. And this we go into great detail and in great depth. And we have the best lecturer for this, and I'll discuss our lecturers a little later. And so this puts together the framework for 6th year, whereby the dissertation will be completed. We then have systematic theology. Systematic Theology 1 is a module which looks at theology through the Bible in a systematic fashion, going pretty much from the start to the end in a manner that just opens up things. And this module, I guarantee you, not only you're going to enjoy the way it's presented and enjoy the lecturer, but you're going to enjoy more than all of that, the content and the revelation of what comes from it. And then we have Apologetics 1. Apologetics 1 in essence is defending the faith, and here we have a look at various aspects within this module, whereby we are shown different manners and different methods in which we can defend our faith. A lot of discussion goes on in this module. Now in 5th year we also have electives. Here we have 2 electives to choose from. The one is Biblical Hebrew 1, which is a continuation from 4th year, but this is just going a bit further than just an introduction. And then we have what is probably one of the most, let's say, most chosen of the electives is Cults and False Religions 1. Well, it just amazes me every year how many people choose cults and false religions, but I can guarantee you things are brought to light. A light is shed on these things that are offline and off track, and it's the pureness of the Word of God that shines through. And so that's what within our 5th year. And then our 6th year. Our 6th year is the creme de la creme. This is where completion of all those 3 years of study comes to a point whereby not only is it all worthwhile, but there's a major sense of accomplishment. So if we just have a look at the prescribed modules. Now bear in mind, 6th year is our gold laureate with honors. So in essence, it's taken 5th year and it's brought it up to another level. So yes, we have Systematic Theology 2, we have Apologetics 2, we have Judeo-Christian Studies 3, we have Old Testament Theology 3, New Testament Theology 3, Biblical Greek 2, and then this is the module, Research, Methodology and Dissertations 2. In other words, this is where we put the meat on the framework of the dissertation that was put forward in year 5. And at the end of year 6, you will have a dissertation that you have presented, that you have researched, that you have spent time and poured a lot of effort into, and it will be presented in a format whereby this can be a published work. Something to be really, really proud of, and also something that can be used in your field of ministry. And then finally, with regards to curriculum, let's look at the electives in 6th year. Once again, we have Biblical Hebrew 2. But the thing about Biblical Hebrew 2, you would have had to have done Biblical Hebrew 1 in 5th year. And the same goes with Cults and False Religions 2. You would have to have done Cults and False Religions 1 in 5th year. So those are the modules that we share, that we expound on, that we discuss with, that we elaborate, that we get involved and we really dig into on Advanced Biblical Studies, years 4, 5, and 6, our Silver and Gold Laureate programs. So let's look at the other aspect that makes Advanced Biblical Studies so different, and that is the lecturers. We have external and internal lecturers. First, I'd like to mention Reverend Villinell. Reverend Villinell is a retired lecturer from UNISA who lectured Hebrew, Greek, even New Testament theology. In actual fact, he put together the syllabus for Hebrew and Greek in UNISA. He's a wonderful man of God, filled with the Holy Spirit, and this is the man who is able to put across these languages of Hebrew and Greek in a manner that just opens our eyes. And he does it in such a uniquely South African manner, but all with the joy of the Lord. Then we have Professor Magdal Leroux from UNISA, who lectures biblical archaeology, a lady that has been on innumerable digs both in Israel and in Greece and some of the Mediterranean islands, a lady that has a wealth of knowledge, a lady that just has a passion for biblical archaeology. Then we have Pastor Wayne Hopf from Durban Christian Center. He is probably the country's foremost expert on systematic theology. He has volumes that he's put together, that he's researched, studied, and had revelation on. And then we have Pastor Danny Carmichael Green from the Bay Christian Family Church. And he is an amazing historian, and he is able to put across in an exciting manner the history of the church. And then we have Pastor Warren Graham from Emachaleni, and he is our lecturer on 4th year for Judeo-Christian Studies. So let's have a look at our internal lecturers. We have Dr. Johnny Slubbert, who lectures on 5th and 6th year Judeo-Christian Studies. We have Pastor Jenny Roche, who lectures on psalmody, which is one of the electives in 4th year. We have Dr. Andre Vilmans, who lectures on New Testament theology in 5th and 6th year. We have Dr. Simone Slubbert, who does more than just lecturing. She just stands by the students putting together their dissertations, putting together, ensuring that their framework, their dissertation question is easily answered with the correct research, and then making sure that everything comes together at the end of year 6. And we have myself. I lecture Origins of the Bible in 4th year and Apologetics in 5th and 6th year. Then we have teacher Paul Janse van Vuren. He stands by the side of Professor Magdal Leroux and with biblical archaeology. Then we have teacher Wendy van der Merwe, who is just so passionate about the New Testament. She lectures 4th and she's just put some New Testament games together which are really, really fun. And then she assists Pastor Andre in 5th and 6th year in New Testament theology. And we have teacher Elaine Monty. Well, you know, one thing about teacher Elaine, as far as he's concerned, the King James Bible, that's the Bible. But he has such a passion for the Old Testament. And he's there just to walk you through doing an exegesis. And I know teacher Elaine, he just likes delving into these scriptures where an exegesis can be done. And he's exceptional in sharing that and putting it across so that it's fun to do an exegesis. Then we have Pastor Mani Genis. Now, Pastor Mani Genis, he started a Bible college and ran it for 3 years until he had his first 3 graduates, and then passed it on to the particular church where it was stationed. And he lectures on God's generals. God's generals, as I've discussed, is a module whereby we can see those men and women that have raised above the bar just through their words and their actions, and being steadfast for the Lord. And then we have teacher Jason Pillay, and Teacher Jason lectures on fourth year in dispensations and covenants. Well, those are those two aspects that are different in advanced biblical studies. The other aspect that is different is the roster. We don't do a couple of hours, one night a week for a number of weeks throughout the year. What we do is we refer to our lecturing sessions as blocks. And a block comprises 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 8 until 6. Now I know it sounds a lot. That's like 27 hours. But they run February through to July, and then all the lecturing is complete. And in fourth year, where we repeat the prescribed modules, it is actually possible to complete all the lecture hours in 9 days. In other words, 3 blocks. Now, if you think about it, to be able to get all this information downloaded in 9 days so that you're able to go and do an assignment with confidence tells you that, A, the content that is downloaded has to be really good, and the manner in which it's put across is also really exciting. Then I'm sure you can see there are innumerable reasons to come and apply and enroll on advanced biblical studies. Now, as I have discussed, there are prescribed and elective modules, and that applies to 4th, 5th, and 6th year. 4th year is the only year where we repeat the prescribed modules, and the only year where you have the opportunity to complete the studies within 3 blocks. 5th and 6th year, however, because there is so much more information that we want to impart, we require attendance at all 6 blocks. But if you think about it, February through to July, all the lecture hours are complete. You've had input from a plethora of different lecturers from various fields, giving you not only their personal revelation, but all the research that they've done on the module over the years. Wow, you can't get better anywhere else. So that's how our roster is different. And so here's an example for you to see. We have blocks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as I mentioned, they run February through to July. And you will see that here we have an example of 4th year. And in block 1, as an example, we have Old Testament Theology 1, Introduction to Biblical Hebrew, and Biblical Archaeology. Now those will be 3 prescribed modules. If you have a look at block 4, you will see, and this is in May, you'll see that those modules are repeated. So if you're attending block 1, you wouldn't attend block 4. And the same goes for block 2 and 5 and block 3 and 6, other than you may have to attend an elective, which may be in a different block. So, what else makes advanced biblical studies unique? Well, the manner of study. I've already discussed the classroom hours, all right? Each module is assigned a certain number of classroom hours, and they range between 7 and 18, depending on which year you're in. In 4th year, between 7 and 12, and 5th year, up to 18 and above, depending on the module. And the classroom hours, I can guarantee you, they are not boring. They are exciting. We want so much to get input from the students. The lecturers don't know everything. We can glean from you, and it inspires discussion. And I can guarantee you something. You will learn from each other as students in the class. Incorporated with our manner of study are our assignments. Now, the assignment is not something where you have a manual that the answers come from. The assignment is based on your research to the question or the assignment question that is posed. And you have the scope of everything that is out there to research. We give you hints on how to research, what to research, who to research, so that you can put together an assignment that is based on the experts in the field, as well as your own thoughts about something, because we encourage people not just to get out of the box, but to move away from the box. We want to know your viewpoints of various topics. And that's what the assignments are there for, to discuss things and to put things across. But most importantly, the assignments are there for you to learn more than what you heard in the classroom. The manner of study also doesn't work on a mark system. We work on a credit system. So each module has a certain number of credits assigned to it. And to pass a year requires you to have obtained a certain number of credits. So let's take, for example, fourth year. In fourth year, we have 7 prescribed modules and 1 elective module. To pass, you are required to get sufficient credits in 6 of the prescribed and then 1 of the electives, which will give you a total number of credits to pass the year. But obviously, if you get sufficient credits in all the modules you do, that's great. You see, our pass mark is 60%. So let's use an example. Let's say you're doing Origins of the Bible, and Origins of the Bible has been assigned 15 credits. If you get 60%, you will get 15 credits. If you get 70%, you will get 15 credits, and so on. So by getting 60% in all the modules, you will get the 15 credits for each individual module. It may sound a little tough, a 60% pass rate or pass mark, but I can guarantee you, all right, that 60% is a reflection of how much you've gleaned, not only from the lectures, but the time and effort that you've put in researching for your assignment. And you know, the assignments are really not that difficult. The assignments are set by the lecturers, and each module has specific assignments set to them. For example, all right, in biblical Hebrew, we're looking at the various letters, and I'm specifically speaking about fourth year. We're looking at the letters in the Hebrew alphabet, how they are written, the idiosyncrasies of putting different letters together. So those are written assignments, and there's more than one assignment. So it's not a long essay in Hebrew. But there may be other modules that will have something different, like Old Testament theology will have an exegesis, whereby you are looking at a number of verses, just a few, 3 to 5, no more than that, whereby you expound on them, and you do it in a manner where you can draw the most out of those verses. But the most important thing with regards to assignments is your time management. An assignment can't be left to the last minute. There has to be consistent input as far as your research. In other words, looking for the correct information and looking for it in the correct way. And I can guarantee if you manage your time correctly, getting all the assignments done is actually not that difficult. So how much does it cost? Well, this always seems to be one of the first questions on everyone's mind. Well, it doesn't really cost that much for all that you get. So let's look at the fees. Let's look at fourth year. Fourth year, we have an application and registration fee, which will amount together to 1,750 Rand. All right? But once you're registered as a student, all that it costs for your tuition fees are 10,000 Rand. 10,000 Rand to be paid over 10 months. That's 1,000 Rand a month. Now please understand, our fees are not there to make a huge amount of money. We have various costs to pay. Our external lecturers get paid. Every assignment that gets marked, the lecturer gets paid for. So there are these costs. And we haven't increased our fees over the past 3 years. We've done a little bit of rounding of the numbers, but we haven't increased our fees. And compared to other institutions that offer anything nearly similar, we are way below them. Yes, we have a couple of other little cost items. For example, if you submit an assignment late, there is a penalty. And if by chance you were to fail your assignment on the first time round, we give you an opportunity to resubmit. Wow! Not only do you get the opportunity to have up to 2 months to do an assignment, but you have a chance to resubmit if you haven't done that well. In 5th year, without going through all the small specifics, the tuition and dissertation fee, because now we're starting the dissertation, so we have to add a bit for that, are 12,000 Rand per annum, which is 1,200 Rand per month for 10 months. And for 6th year, we have a total tuition and dissertation fee of 13,000 Rand a month, which is 1,300 Rand per month for 10 months. Really, that is not expensive for the quality of the material that you get, for the quality of the lecturers that are presenting the information, for all that is combined to give such a wonderful product. These fees, I think, are extremely reasonable. Not only are the fees reasonable, but the facilities in which we present are top class. Here at Christian Family Church Johannesburg, where we rent the facilities from the church, we are able to present in a manner which has excellent sound, excellent audio-visual capabilities, and a manner in which we have the best protocols for COVID, for anything that may come along. We are strictly compliant with all that is required. We make sure you're comfortable, and by the way, you're allowed to eat and drink in the venue during the lectures. I can stand here and advertise and market advanced biblical studies for hours, but the best form of advertising is hearing from someone that has done it. And I'd like you to listen to 2 pastors that have come through it. Firstly, Pastor Neo, who is just completing 6th year at the moment and has done exceptionally well. So listen to his testimony.
Hi everyone, this is Pastor Neo from the House of Prayer Ministries in Vosloorus. Often as a Bible college student, we ask ourselves that, am I gonna continue all the way to postgraduate studies, or am I gonna just end with my 3 years? But allow me to tell you, I asked myself the same question as well when I finished my 3rd year. And there was something in my spirit that said, I want more. I want more of this. And I registered for Advanced Biblical Studies. Wow, what a program that is. That program changed my thinking. It changed my life. It revolutionized my ministry. It changed how I prepare my sermons, how I preach, how I minister to people. It is a powerful program that one can invest in. Today, I want to tell you that if you are telling yourself that you're going to end with only 3 years of Bible college, allow me this morning to encourage you that you really have to experience what we call advanced biblical studies. It will change your thinking. You will realize that for the first 3 years, it's like you have not done anything. You'll realize that there is more to learn. I am so grateful that I registered for Advanced Biblical Studies. My life will never be the same again. My ministry will never be the same again. I invite you to also register for Advanced Biblical Studies. If there is a best advice I can give you for 2020 is register for Advanced Biblical Studies. From me, Pastor Neo, I say to you today, may you be blessed and may the good Lord continue to lift you up. I love you and bye.
And now I'd like to share a testimony with you from Pastor Warren Graham, who has completed Advanced Biblical Studies and did so really well. But he has some really interesting things to say about Advanced Biblical Studies.
I'm Pastor Warren Graham. I'm the senior pastor of Christian Family Church Emalaghleni. I've been in ministry for 26 years. Hosea 4 verse 6 says, my people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge. Apostle Theo says, what we don't know is killing us. I thought I knew everything. I thought nobody could teach me anything more than what I've already known. I've been in ministry for years. I did all the studies until my wife convinced me to do the Silver Laureate studies, Advanced Biblical Studies. And wow, was I amazed to learn that I almost knew nothing. It uncovered what was hidden in my heart that God has placed in my potential. My teachings had a more solid foundation as I was teaching from a place where I knew more, had more knowledge because of what I've researched and studied and got from what we had in class. God is calling you into ministry. You need to grow in the knowledge that He has for you. And I want to say to you that if you've done the Silver Laureate, go on. Don't stop now. Just do it.
Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and I know that you will be encouraged to come on and join Advanced Biblical Studies in 2022. God bless you.